Alright, you can manually group together different PO lines into a PO if you selected the manual packaging when you created the PO line. And you can see the PO lines that you have waiting to be packaged by clicking on the Order Lines Packaging link on your Tasks menu. Now that gets you to the PO Lines to Package screen. Alternatively, you can click on the Alma main menu and select Package. That gets you to the same screen. So these are all the different PO lines. These are all the titles that we just ordered from Gobi. And we're going to be grouping these titles into a purchase order. And you can select these individually, or if I have all these 9 titles are going to go on one purchase order, so I can click the Select All. You can also have Alma automatically group together your purchase order lines into a PO, but you would not get to choose which of the purchase order lines go on a particular PO. Alma would just do it automatically. So the advantage of doing this manually is that you can select which specific titles go on which purchase order. Alright, so now that you've selected all of the titles, you can click Create New PO, and Alma is going to suggest a PO number. And the PO number can be edited, but the purchase order line number can't be edited. So Alma creates the purchase order line number for you. You can't edit that, but you can edit the purchase order number. So the format that we're going to be doing is the year, the fiscal year, followed by the month, August, followed by the order, what order this is, whether it's the first order you did, the second order, the third order, etc. So that's purchase order fiscal year 18, August, and then this is our first purchase order. And so this total price here should match your net price that you see on the purchase order that you submitted to Gobi. So this is a copy of the purchase order that I just submitted to Gobi, and I see the estimated net price is $462.70, and this is the purchase order number 180801, and that does match with what I submitted to Gobi, so that's good. And we're going to click on Save and Continue. If you click on the purchase order line list, then you'll see all of the titles that are on this purchase order, and it'll also display the PO and the purchase order line. So a guide for leaders in higher education, that's on PO 18-8-1, and that's purchase order line 154. If you click on the purchase order line, it'll show the price, it'll show the list price and the net price. And it'll also display the expected receipt date, which is based on that expected receipt after ordering days number that you entered when you were creating the purchase order line. And so it just calculates that based on this number. So we placed the order on August the 10th, and since we entered 21 as the expected receipt after ordering days, then the expected receipt date is going to be August 31st. And one thing about the PO line page, if you click on the purchase order, you can add notes by clicking the Notes tab, and well, okay, you can't add notes. Alright, and one thing about the purchase order line page is from here, if you click on Tools, Excel, that's going to open up a Excel document that lists all of the titles that are on this purchase order. It gives you the MMSID numbers for those. It tells you that they're print book one-time orders, what library it's for, the purchase order number, the purchase order line, the total price, and it tells you the day that you submitted the, or well, actually the day that you created the purchase order is what that would show you. To take a look at the purchase order lines, on the Funds and Ledgers page, you select Funds and Ledgers, and these were all from the YBP Gobi fund. So I'm going to click on that name and then click Transactions. And this is a list of all of the purchase order lines and the amounts. And you can see we started off with a balance in this fund of $17,000. And our available balance right now is $16,537.30. If you click on the specific purchase order line, it'll tell you the description, the title of the book, the purchase order that purchase order line is associated with, when it was created, the list price, and the net price. And it gives you the reporting code that we used when we ordered the book. Also, if you're at the home page, if you click on the main menu and go to Vendors and select the vendor, which in this case is YBP, which is Gobi there. On the tabs on the vendor details page, if you select PO lines, that's going to be a list of all of the titles that we ordered through this vendor during the year. So right now we have 9 titles on this page, and you'll be able to see a list of all the titles, the purchase order lines, and the purchase order numbers here.